Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Resident Evil 5 on professional difficulty. This is 5-3. It's entitled Ouroboros Research Facility, and we are on the hardest difficulty. And it's a difficult end to what has been a fairly challenging, thinking back on it, there weren't too many hard challenges on this chapter. Were there? But now we do have a few. So anyway, so we're coming up on the final stretch. A couple of annoying sequences coming up, a couple of firefights, but I guess you just have to kind of take it as it is, because Resident Evil 4 introduced a lot of the action mechanics that this game just kind of followed suit with. And this first fight here, there's going to be quite a lot of enemies, so I would equip the piercing machine gun, as well as either the stun blade or the grenade launcher with the electric grenades. So there's going to be 4 enemies across the way there. One of the good ways to deal with groups of enemies, if you can't get them in a line to pierce them with the bullets, is to stagger the enemies, because when you shoot an enemy in this game, they stagger. That is, they fall back and do an animation where they're recoiling. So what you want to do is shoot 1 or 2 and get those guys in that recoiling animation, and then once they're indisposed, capitalize on hitting the other ones, because the guys who are recoiling cannot hit you because they're in a timed process whereby they have to recover to start shooting again. So just focus on the other ones and then get them stunned, come back to the others, and you can do a little loop. So the first one of these Reapers drops right here, and since before I was teaching you how to use the stun blade on these guys, I know it's not called the stun blade, but it kind of seems like it might be a good idea to call it that. Something like out of Ninja Gaiden or something. But you just want to shoot that phosphorescent orb on these guys, and it was only, I think, a miracle right here that this guy didn't grab me. But just watch out, because you can kill Sheva with these grenades. So basically it's just you shoot them and they stagger and they reveal that phosphorescent weak spot on their bodies. And look at this. Look, I don't know what kind of effect this is, but it's a really weird mechanic. If you look at it, when they're dripping all that acid and it's getting in your way, it's almost like it's an LSD kind of effect or something. It messes with your aimer, because your aimer will like go flaccid, and it's harder to hit and you can't see anything, and it's really interesting, but it's definitely a player handicap. I also should say that when I got here once, I'm not sure what I did to make what I'm about to say happen, but one of these times I got the Reaper on the next set. I got the first Reaper where the second Reaper was going to spawn over here, and then after I pulled the lever, then I got the next Reaper coming out of the door behind me. And I'm not sure how typical something like that is, but normally, that won't happen, because I've done this a number of times, only to perish near the end where the checkpoint is. Like this would be my first Reaper that I got. The one that I got before, he wasn't there, so I'm not sure what happened. So since these guys are weak to electricity, you can use these electric rounds to stun them and deal damage to them. But see that effect? It's really, I like it, but you're definitely at the mercy of the visual effects right there. So an enemy like the Reaper is only as hard as you make it, because if you're not shooting that orb, it's not going to go down very fast. I mean, it's going to take a ton of ammo to take it down. Conversely, though, if you're shooting it in the right spots, it goes down extremely fast. So, looks like they're giving us some kind of a rifle right there, which we don't need. And what happened actually when I was talking about the incongruent Reaper spawn a moment ago was that I left this room, went down the catwalk a little bit, and then he spawned behind me. So I think it was some kind of an error. It must have been a glitch. But I just wanted to say that just in case it happens to you, or maybe if you are watching this before you play, maybe you can anticipate it just in case something like that does happen to you. And then we've got a collection of enemies here, and a heavy in the middle of that platform. Now, I think I got a checkpoint before I killed these guys. So, get back, keep shooting him in a loop right there on the head. And let's just see, let me see where you, if you ever get a checkpoint and there's enemies left, you can just allow yourself to get killed and reset the checkpoint. Yeah, so right there, if I just reset the checkpoint there and reloaded, the enemies would all be gone. You can unspawn enemies in that way. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I think I'm just shooting nitrogen rounds right there for the fun of it. Slicing and dicing right here. But it looks like that guy had the stun rod. Okay, so what I would recommend here is have Sheva operate the platform. Okay, so with Sheva back there, out of the way of danger, what we're going to do is shoot this guy over there, and then take out the two guys with the riot shields. Now, both of these targets will sprout the La Plagas from their heads, and you'll get another spawn after you bring Sheva back here. So, in anticipation of all of the enemies with rocket launchers, what I'm going to do is lay down some mines. And I can't help but think of Dead Space when I play this, when I'm setting down mines specifically, because in Dead Space 2 you saw me many a time and beyond sending down those detonator mines, didn't you? So it's the same principle here, and it's the same fun factor, same joy, knowing that you're ahead of the enemies. So unfortunately, you guys, we're going to have some enemies with RPGs, and sometimes in this game, even if you're behind cover, you're still not safe, especially with those RPGs and all the splash damage that it deals. But they do put a checkpoint over here for you, and you can't leave Sheva on the other side, because you will not get that sequence. First of all, you need Sheva to go through the door. You need her to go through the door with you to get out of this region. And then it's just forced. It's a forced encounter, but it's not too bad. So once she's on her way back, you can go up here. I've cut the cutscene out. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Everybody just disintegrates. But there's quite a lot of enemies left. That was where are you running, boy? Piece of shit. And then we have... What is next? That guy has a shield right on his fucking face. Really annoying. But the majority of the clientele over here will have RPGs. And the next section after this is, I think, one of the worst sections in the game. Just because of the way... Nice stomp. That was really effective. It's just a bad section. There's nothing hard about it. There's definitely something boring about it, but just watch out for enemies with that stun rod too. The most common thing in this game is reloading, and during the reload getting hit by the stun rod, because the enemies don't give a shit if you're reloading. So maybe I'll talk about a brief tangent while we're on the revolving circular platform coming up. More enemies up here. I didn't know that there were enemies here. I would have just planted like 5 detonator mines or whatever they are outside the door. So in lieu of that, I'm going to just open the door very slowly, toss a grenade in there, back up. That could have gone very bad though. So just take out the final guy. There is a treasure royal necklace on the table. I don't remember how much that sells for though. It's definitely not a pittance though. Possibly up to 5K. Okay. This section, you need a lot of rifle ammunition over here if you want to do this. You see these boxes here? The reason I'm not smashing them is because it's a long run over here, and I just don't care. I definitely could have used the stuff in the boxes, but sometimes you just want to get to the fight without taking too long. So what's going to happen over here is that 3 enemies will spawn right away. They're optional though, because you can hide behind the middle, this contraption here. I'm not sure what it is, but you can just keep circling around it. And the problem here is that you're going to have enemies spawning in on the sides of this this facility, this region here, in this, I'm not sure what it is. It's some kind of a, I don't know. It doesn't much matter, because what matters is getting you guys through this. So I am using the grenade launcher here, but I wouldn't recommend it, simply because it's just not working for me, and I know that it probably won't work for you. So the machine gun's actually pretty effective here, and it's hard because over here what you're dealing with is the velocity of this turntable, and what's happening is that you can't ascend if there is an enemy holding on to that lever, because he's trying to prevent us from going up. Now, I thought previously that you had to take all of these enemies out, but it's not the case. You just have to take out the guys behind the levers. And when I first played this, I wasn't aware of that. You can see the resistance here. Possibly when I'm aiming in, it's very, very hard to. I missed that one. Fuck. I hate having those in. If anybody has any feedback about that, if you're a walkthrough maker or anything like that, those they really irritate me when I see those on guides. It's almost as worse as people leaving in loading screens on a guide that you're already editing in the first place. It's just, I have no tolerance for that as far as a patience level. So this is just, it's just really a nuisance. The most important thing though is when you get to the top, there's going to be 4 or 5, possibly the latter number, of enemies just standing on the stairs. I would recommend having the bulletproof vest on over here, but I question the help that it actually gives you on this difficulty. So if you come back here, you'll be pretty safe. And just keep slightly moving. Try to get your aim. Just take care of them. Shoot them whatever part of the body is visible through all this machinery. Just hit it and then move on. There will be a boss fight at the end. I rather like the Wesker and Jill boss fight. It's really interesting, and it has a lot of room to go all around, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys how to do it. But I realize that this is an old game, you guys, and I know that you know, it's hard to straddle the line of being, you know, an entertainment source on the one hand, and also a walkthrough channel that helps. I would rather help than entertain, but I realize that the people, they do need at least some level of entertainment while they're watching it, because it's easy for people to fade out and just get bored. But we have a really intimidating section coming up ahead, you guys. And what happened here was, I was going to bring you a strategy whereby I dispatched all of these creepy crawler guys over here. I don't know their name. They might be the U3 enemy, and if they are, that's the dumbest name. So anyway, you pull that lever to power on this machine, and do not have Sheva go up there. It's just not going to work out. This is a really hard section, and you just can't depend on her because she's not good. It's very, very unsafe. So it just kind of happened that I was able to flee from these guys. So I put a cutscene in. I've switched to my proxy mines, and make sure you give Sheva some bullets so she can distract these guys. And you just want to sidle along the edges of the fence over here. And at this point, I just do a run for it. There's another cutscene right there, which I've edited out. And the idea is you want to lure all these guys over here, and you're supposed to push this this blue trash bin, or I think it's a trash receptacle. You need to push it to the other side so that you can drop in on top of the building where there's another switch to lower the bridge. And what I would say here is to just lay some proxy mines so you can get some kind of an idea of you know, the detonation, and trying to time the detonation, just to see how, you know, how long you have available to keep pushing this thing for. Because these enemies are going to be off screen, and then when you hear the explosion, that gives you an indication of, oh hey, I remember where I laid that trap down, so you know that's about where there are approximately. But general advice here is, when you're pushing that thing, always be having your eye positioned on the very left of the screen, and any like reddish pink you see, that's the enemies. Stop pushing at that point. But I don't think what I did right there is typical, and the reason for that is that's the only time I was able to push it all the way. So what I would recommend in lieu of that is to have about 30 of the acid rounds, and just stand at the, just push it as far as you possibly can. Oh, here's where some greed kicked in, and just fire the acid rounds at those guys until they all die. Did I somewhere earlier sing the praises of this dual boss fight? Because if I did, and I think I do remember singing the praises of this fucking boss fight, then I retract them, because this is absolutely atrocious, and it has the feeling I get is that it's a co-op, that it was meant for co-op, which is completely unacceptable for a boss fight. So what you do is you lure him up there, jump down. After he jumps up there, shoot him in the back with a magnum, and then put the rocket launcher on. I did not want to use the rocket launcher, you guys, but it's still, anyway, shoot that at him, and then shoot the rocket, and then you get a checkpoint here. The main issue with Jill when she's accompanied by Wesker is that she's a bitch. I don't know how else to say it. She keeps firing at you, and she does chip damage to you, and that chip damage is death, because you can't survive it. There's just no way. And Sheva constantly falls. So I have no patience for this. This is actually somewhat fun, although it is just a quick time event shit fucking fest. But if you use the flash grenades here, you can stun her every single time. So what we're doing here is just stunning her, and then running up to her and pressing the X button. And then when you get this, you can either press the B button, or you can shoot, you can aim in, and just make sure you hit the red jewel on her, or you'll kill her, and it'll say your partner died. I didn't mean to be so profane here, but seriously, I tried it for an hour to beat that first segment, and I just finally said, Just let me use the rocket launcher. It's abhorrent. So you just do this a couple of times. I got so sick of this I didn't even go for the jewels over here. And here's me spamming the start button because yet again it comes on there for less than a second. So I don't know why Wesker says 7 minutes. It might be some reference, like when the fight starts it says I only have 7 minutes to spare for this fight. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's a reference, an allusion to one of the earlier games, but I've never played 1 through 3, so I have no idea. So it's just participating in the quick time events until you rip the jewel off her. I shoot the jewel twice and then no more because I don't want to risk it. And I think we're just about ready to finish this off, but just follow exactly what I've done here. Use the flash grenades on her, use the magnum on Wesker, then the rocket launcher. It's just, this had the potential, I think, to be a really good fight, and they ruined it by having Sheva. Sheva falls down every time, practically. So, just to hell with that fight. And what you have to do here is just, like I said, it's a quick time event shitfest. That's exactly what it is. It's just constant quick time events. What you can do is you go up to her and it says entreat, which is a very nice word for this game, but it just says entreat. So after you've entreated, you've got to move out of the way. But it's just a shit fest. So fuck it.